that kind of, I guess, leads us into our game coverage section. Like, I mean, you guys were out to a ton of games last week. Def, I know you said you saw four. But yeah, on Monday, Hammett, I think you're kind of kicking things off here with your York and Lions game.
Yeah, and
Or go
I'm
ahead,
fired
Drew.
up.
Sorry,
We
go
got
ahead.
Dane Poe, second week in a row, entering the podcast. So welcome, Dane. Looking forward to hearing from you because I know you're just continuing to absolutely crush your coverage. Yeah, Pete, what do you got to lead us off?
Yeah, I kind of teased this one last week a little bit. I caught number 22 York against Lions Township, a really good matchup. The Dukes won this one. They got out to a quick 2-0 lead in the top of the first inning. Josh Fleming, one of the more impressive swings that I've seen all spring. He took 91 for the first pitch of the game through the left side. Then he was later brought home by Drew Gammy at 2025, who doubled to the right center gap. The Lions would storm back, though, in the bottom of the third, and they would take a 4-3 lead at the time. Tommy Georgelos, a EIU commit, singled and brought home, he singled, and Blake Ragsdale doubled, and they would both later score on an error to make it 3-2 at the time. And then Lou Ratcliffe, a 2026, he would follow with a 2 RBI double to help make it 4-3. And then the Dukes would ultimately regain the lead in the top of the fifth. Luke Piezinski, he started the scoring with an RBI single through the left side, and they would add 2 more on a fielder's choice and a bases loaded walk to make it 6-4. And then ultimately, the Lions would kind of fight back in the last inning from the bottom of the seventh and bring it to 6-5, but they would fall short ultimately. But some of the top prospects I saw that day, Jack Slidham, I mean, he was kind of the main reason I went over to check that out. One of the top 2026s in the state. He's really kind of had a helium rise since the state games, really. And he was 88-91. Slider was 76-80. Showing a changeup and showing a cutter. I mean, that kid, his ceiling is incredibly high. Really young looking face. Like, he is not really hit his, he doesn't have his man strength yet, right? Like, so in 3 to 4 years, that kid's going to really pop. He was really impressive. Blake Ragsdale, one of the top 2027s in the that Illinois group. His defense just remains elite. Like, he made some Javi Baez type acrobatic tags, and he was making some really, really impressive plays, like a diving stop in the hole, a really impressive run through play, and the bat continues to look the part as well. Twitchy with some strength, he was able to take a double the other way. Tommy Georgelos, man, I love just watching that kid handle himself at the plate. Really compact, with strength, with really good bat to ball. The kid just hits. Don Pisciotti. So he's, I believe, uncommitted. I mean, from what I could tell, he's uncommitted. He's playing first base for them, and I know he actually pitches as well. But he is super physical. I have not seen that kid for a few years. He looks every bit of the part of a first baseman with some juice, and I know he's mid-upper 80s on the mound as well. And then Mercer Kranz, he came out of the bullpen for Lions Township. I was a big fan of him. He's going to Rock Valley. He's a senior. It was a mid-80s fastball up to 88, spinning a slider around 75 to 77. But it was a really quick arm that would it just jumped out of the hand. It was explosive. I was a big fan of that. I think that kid's got a chance to continue to throw harder down the road. And then Josh Fleming, like I mentioned, 91 miles an hour for the first pitch of the game. You just love to see that. Ready to hit. He was clearly timing him up on deck. That's just the little things like that stand out. But he's also long been, one of the more talented middle infielders in the state. And I know he had a huge week at the Rock this past summer, maybe the best weekend we've ever seen there. He had 4 or 5 home runs in one day. And then Luke Piezinski, he's a Missouri S&T commit. He's a senior. I just love the look all around. Really bouncy defender. I think he can handle the glove and stay there at the next level. And I think the right-handed swing's got some upside as well. And then Jack Bodak, he was my prospect of the week last week. He's a uncommitted left-hander, and he was pitching in the low 80s with a slider, working fast, attacking the zone. The line wasn't the best, but it's still he still was impressive. He's a college arm all day long. Like I said, works fast, attack the zone, and yeah, that was pretty much all I had there, Gav.
Yeah, and then kind of moving on down the list on Monday, Dane, I know you were over at Triad and Waterloo in a 15-5 win for Triad.
So I saw Triad. That was the first game of Monday that I saw. Hayden Burner had quite a game on the mound and at the plate. He went 4 for 4. He came up a double shy of the cycle. Um, Hit a home run, solo shot through over the center field wall. Drove in 4 runs overall in the game. Also threw 2 innings, struck out 4 batters. Did not give up an earned run. Just really dominant on both sides of the plate, both sides of the game. On the mound, he was sitting 87-90, topping out at 91, mixing a slider that was sitting 78-80 with sharp late action. Just dominant stuff. Keegan Sipe was also very impressive on the day, going 2 for 2 while driving in 2 runs, connecting on a launch pad of a solo home run over the right center wall into the trees. Very intriguing 2027 prospect, as well as Jackson Vaughn was also very impressive in that game. Another 2027 guy to keep an eye on. The turning point in this game was really when Triad got going early on in the game. Bernruder connected on a triple down the right field line. Landon Loomis and Keegan Sipe followed up with RBI singles of their own, and then Nolan Keller kind of finished it off with a sac fly to center. But that really got them going, and they never looked back. Sawyer Brunson's another guy to keep an eye on. Second time I've seen him this spring on the mound. He's at set 85-86. Mixed in a slider that had 10-4 shape that's at 73-75. Just really good stuff. Struck out 7 batters over 4 innings and collected a multi-inning save. So very good stuff.
Sawyer Brunson's still uncommitted.
Yes.
So like down in that Southern Illinois, especially like that Edwardsville Metro East area, like Sawyer Brunson's the name to know, and I know Edwardsville's got a couple unsigned seniors as well. Just wanted to shout that out because I saw Sawyer Brunson at the kickoff classic, and there'd be a lot of schools that I would think would be interested in him.
The other game on Monday that I saw was Mascuda beating Highland 7-0. All thanks to a dominant performance from Austin Musso. 17 strikeouts for a complete game. Shutout, only allowing 1 walk and 2 hits. Sitting 88-91 with the fastball, topping out at 92 early on with arm side run. Was able to locate in all parts of the plate. Got swings and misses at the top of the zone, and then mixing a slider with 10-4 shape with sharp late action, sitting at 78-80. Just dominant. I think he got the first 8 guys striking out of the game, and then carried on throughout the rest of the game. The turning point in this game, Josh Amon got the scoring started in the top of the 6th with an RBI single, and then Tom Harrison followed up with an RBI single of his own, and then the rest of the runs came in from errors, balks, and a stolen base to home plate. Prospect highlight, Nolan Labert starting at second base. Just really like the stuff. I saw him on the mound a couple weeks ago. He sat low 80s, funky right-hander. But at the plate today, or on Monday, he went 2 for 4, coming around to score a run. Just a smooth operator up the middle. Really had good speed that he showed off with the stolen base. And then also Chase Knable, I think, needs to get a shout out as well. He shined as well for Highland on the mound. Struck out 6 batters through 6 innings, and he was untouchable in the first 5 innings. A Southwestern, a Swick commit. Sat 80-82 with arm side run, really funky low 3/4 slot, mixed in a 68-70 changeup, and then threw a curveball that was sitting 60-61. Just really good stuff from him as well.
I just want to throw this out there. I know we haven't voted on our player and pitcher of the week yet for this week, but man, hearing that Austin Musso, those numbers, I think he's going to have a strong case for pitcher of the week. I mean, 17 strikeouts is nuts. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, and to add, he keeps just like dominating. It looks like I'd love to look at his season stats on the year because I feel like anytime we see something from Austin Musso, it's just a really good performance. And I know Dane, you've seen him a few times. I saw him and down at the Kickoff Classic, and yeah, it's just good stuff all around for Austin Musso. And moving over to Tuesday. Tyler, why don't you get in here with your game to give Dane kind of a break, but then after Dane, you'll get into your other Southern Illinois game you saw.
Yeah, Tuesday, went over to Brother Rice, and number 1 Brother Rice, that is, take down Number 7, Lincoln Way East, 4-0. First off, absolutely love Brother Rice's new field over there, man. It absolutely gorgeous. It might be like my number 1 or number 2 favorite field I've gone to since doing this job. But MVP for this one, left-handed pitcher Danny Sheehan for Brother Rice. Absolutely dealt. Complete game shutout. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no walks, no runs, 4 Ks. It's not overpowering stuff, but man, he just pounds the zone. 3 pitches for strikes. Trusts his defense behind him as any pitcher should with that caliber of defense that they're rolling out over there, Brother Rice. But got a ton of weak contact as well, but really liked his demeanor on the mound, pitched with emotion in a good way, kind of that bulldog mentality, went right at guys. So he's my MVP for this one. Some underclassmen that really caught my eye. Brady Cunningham, 2027, just continues to do it whenever we see him, whether he's on the mound or if he's not, if he's just hitting. And this one he was just hitting for me. I thought he swung it well. Shortstop Colin Campbell, 2027, going to Louisville out of Brother Rice. Big time actions at shortstop, I thought. Think he's a really sound defender over there, and they're doing whatever they can to get him in the lineup, I think. And, whether that's him playing left field or shortstop, I mean, he's a really athletic defender, and I think he could probably play anywhere on the diamond, but thought he had a good game. Center fielder Anthony Cardilano, another 2027 out of Brother Rice. Just all sorts of range and foot speed out there in center field. Can cover, a boatload of ground. Comfortable going left, right, behind. Whatever. So really liked his game. Then next is shortstop Evan Riff, 2027 out of Lincoln Way East. He showed well for me both times I saw Lincoln Way East this past week. I think in this one it was more the defensive side of things. Just really like how he moves and how he bounces around on the diamond. Really confident defender at short. So those were some underclassmen that caught my eye. Turning point in this game, obviously, it wasn't very high scoring, but bottom of the first inning, Nolan Ramley, 2026, going to Kentucky, just hits an absolute rocket out to left field. I mean, off the bat, it had to be like 105 or 110. It got out so quick, and he knew it right away. It was seriously like a line drive home run. Like, it wasn't some towering shot. So he hit a solo shot in the bottom of the first. Felt like that kind of set the tone for the whole game for the Crusaders. And then the prospect highlight for me from this one is Gavin Triesenberg. I know we've talked about him quite a bit these last couple weeks, but man, every time I see him, I just love his game. He was playing third base in this one, obviously with Campbell playing short, and looks just as comfortable at third base as he does when you go see him play shortstop. He just seems very professional. When you go watch this kid play, at third base, looks apart. It looks easy. Everything looks routine over there. Right-handed hitter was turning on balls. I think he had I want to say he had 2 doubles in the game. I know he for sure had 1, but was on the barrel with authority. So, he's a 2025 going to Arizona. I don't know how much pro attention he's going to get, out of high school, but really, really high on Gavin. And I think he's having a heck of a season for Brother Rice. And, that's what I got from Tuesday, Gav.
Yeah, and then Dane, how about this game where Belleville West upset top 15 team in O'Fallon?
Yeah, it was quite a game. MVP of this game came from Jefferson JUCO commit John Hilbert, who struck out 10 batters through 6 2/3 innings. Only allowed 1 earned run. He was very, very dominant against a really tough O'Fallon offense. Fastball set 86, 87. Clean out of hand, was able to locate everywhere in the zone, mixed in a 10-4 shape slider that had sharp action sitting 77, 80. The turning point of this game came in the bottom of the 7th with runners on first and third in the bottom of the 7th. A balk was called to tie the game at 4, and then a single and a walk later set up 2026 Brady Forney with the bases loaded 2-out situation, and then Forney would draw a walk to bring in the winning run to pull off the upset. A couple guys that popped out to me, Anthony Perez. Last game I saw him, he had a pretty long home run This game, he hopped on the mound and was sitting 85-86 from the left side. 2026 year, mixing a slider that sat in the mid 70s with hard break. And then another guy, Asher Cantu, another guy that keeps impressing at the plate. He went 2 for 3 with a double. He was a whole reason why they tied the game in the first place, getting the bases clearing with a single and then a throwing error, brought in the last run as well. Quality receiver behind the plate, was able to show off a strong arm with multiple back picks at first as well. And also Tyson Filioff started for O'Fallon. He sat 84-86 while topping out with 87, mixing a changeup sitting 78-79, and slider that sat 71-73. Just looked really good as well, striking out 4 batters through 5 innings of work.
All right, yeah, kind of moving over to Wednesday now. We had a few games that we were out at. So, Tyler, yeah, go ahead and kick things off for us.
Yeah, saw number 8 Nazareth Academy beat Marian Catholic 8-4. For me, I'm going to have a 3-way tie for my MVP, and it's the 1, 2, and 3 at the top of that Nazareth order. Starting with Landon Tomey, 2026 going to Tennessee, then Jaden Fauski, 2025 going to LSU, and Colin Roche, 2025 going to Harper Junior College. They combined to go 8 for 13 with a double, triple, home run, 4 RBIs, and 3 runs scored for the Roadrunners. So just thought all 3 of those guys really led the way for Naz en route to the victory. I'll touch a little bit more on Tomey later. Underclassmen that stood out, left-handed pitcher Eddie Donnelly, 2027 out of Naz. Thought he threw the ball well in relief. Really physical frame. A lot to dream on there. Outfielder Jazaris, I hope I'm saying that right. Mackmore Jr., 2027 out of Marian Catholic. Really athletic, all around showing. The frame really kind of jumps out at you when you first see him. He's a right-handed hitter, was floating around the outfield. He was playing right for the Spartans, and I thought he just showed really well on both sides of the ball. And then shortstop Bronx DeBerg, freshman for Marian Catholic, class of 2028. Really steady defender over there. So just a guy that I think we'll have to keep watching for the next couple of years over there at Marian Catholic, but I was really encouraged. I think there's a very strong foundation there defensively, and he bats in the 2-hole and put up some really good at bats as well. So that's what I got underclassmen wise. The turning point in this game was probably the 4-run first inning for Naz. Landon Tomey leads the game off. So how this was, it was at Nazareth Academy, but it was Marian Catholic's home game. The game was supposed to be played at Marian Catholic, but they moved it over to Naz due to weather. So Marian Catholic was the home team. Landon Tomey leads the game off with a solo homer out to right. That really just kind of set the tone, I felt like. But then there were a pair of RBI singles from Cameron Alicon at 2026 and Drew Highland at 2026 for Naz. So in the inning, so that gave Naz a 4-0 lead going into the bottom half of the first. But to me, it felt like they had control of the game from that point on. Prospect highlight for me, shortstop Landon Tomey. Listen, I continue to just be really impressed every time I see Landon play. For me, I think the biggest highlight here is one, he's always, it seemed like, had the bat to ball. That's never really been an issue, but now he's starting to tap into even more power. Obviously his dad, Jim, could hit a home run from time to time in the bigs, but the thing that I think really stands out is just his defense, right? He was playing second base the last couple years for Naz, right? They had a guy by the name of Cooper Malamasian who's tearing it up at Indiana now as a freshman, but really didn't know, okay, how's it really going to translate over there at shortstop? And really, I mean, I would think there's not any sort of drop-off from Malamasian to now Tomey taking over shortstop for Naz. All sorts of athleticism and bounce. Just really looks like a guy over there. And looks like he could stick it short at the next level for sure, in my opinion. But left-handed hitter, man, the approach always impresses me. It just looks so professional in the box. He doesn't expand the zone. You can honestly see his process when you go watch him hit. So really like Landon. I also got to shout out Jaden Fauski, obviously highly touted draft prospect out of Illinois. I know Drew touched on him a little bit earlier, but really looks the part, right? He's going to get draft attention. I feel like it's a matter of where, pick wise he gets drafted, opposed to if he gets drafted. I don't know if that's too lofty of a statement or not, but that, just really looks apart, left-handed hitter, all sorts of juice. Watching him and Tommy hit pregame on the field was really cool. What Coach Milano does over there is before he throws it to him, he's like, hey, what are you doing this round, right? And, they're thinking, hey, I'm thinking middle away, or, Fauski's last round was like, I'm working gap to gap. And then to watch those guys do exactly what they say they want to do that round, to me as high schoolers, is just so impressive. But that's what I got from Wednesday. Gav, I can throw it over to you.
Well, and real quick, you mentioned Naz and you mentioned Cooper Malamasian. And at the beginning of our call, we go through, former Illinois prospects that are doing well at their college, and we need to highlight Cooper Malamasian because Tyler Bell, we've highlighted him a couple times playing as a true freshman for Kentucky and hitting really well. Cooper's the same way. He's playing all over the infield as a true freshman. We had him ranked number 7 in our 2024 class, and just looking at his numbers here, kind of got into the lineup and started playing every day. I felt like a little later into the year. It looks like he's played in 43 of the 44 games, but he started in 34 of them. He's in 339, and he's got 14 doubles and 4 home runs. So really impressive college start to Cooper Malamasian, and I would imagine after whenever he does become draft eligible, that'll be a guy high on people's lists. So that was a good call out there. And when you mentioned him, Tyler, I was like, I got to look at it. I got to look the stats up because I always see his name on social.
No, that's a good shout.
Cooper. Yeah.
I actually don't want to leave this out. For Naz, Chase Lidlicki, I thought threw the ball really well for the Roadrunners. Got to shout out my fellow, he's going to go D3 to Middlebury, so fellow D3 king over there, but 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 4 Ks, but I thought he threw the ball obviously really well for Naz, so just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, so on Wednesday, I went and saw a crosstown matchup between Normal West and at the time number 13 Normal Community. Normal West won that game 3-0, but the MVP of that game was left-handed pitcher Chase Reinhardt. He's a 2027. He threw a complete game shutout with 10 strikeouts, and the kid just competes. Normal Community on Friday went on to beat Normal West 12-2, so I think that just kind of goes to show how good Reinhardt was keeping an offense that is that potent at times to no runs. In that game, he was 82-86, up to 87 with a fastball. Showed feel to throw a curveball for strikes, and he was throwing it in any count and often. He kept hitters off balance. And then with that, Sam McCauley is their catcher. He's a 2027, and he does a good job behind the plate catching Reinhardt. Moves well behind the plate. Good receiver, so really like him. And honestly, there wasn't a ton of big nuggets from the game in terms of the actual game coverage. I mean, Ryder Kuhn is a right fielder for Normal West, and he had a really well hit triple in the game, and that was in the bottom of the third. He eventually scored to put the game at 3-0. And then, looking at some prospects for Normal Community, right-handed pitchers Landon Corbin and Jacob Engel both threw a couple innings in relief. Landon Corbin showed a fastball up to 85, sat in the low 80s. He's a simple mover and kind of showed a curveball with more vertical shape. It was not really 12-6, but not really 11-5, kind of that in between. And then Jacob Engel, he threw 12 pitches in the game, but he was 84-86. So a brief look at him, but it was still pretty interesting. So I know Normal Community is a team that we've seen some arms from them. So just seeing that they have some depth like that is always a good thing for a team. But that's really all I had from my game. Really not a ton of offensive action. Really just good stuff from Chase Reinhardt. So yeah, I mean Hammett, or I guess Dane, if you want to move on to your game here that you saw on Wednesday.
Yeah. So I saw at the time number 12 Father McGivney beat Carterville 11-1. The MVP of this game was Isaac Wendler, another guy that showed well on both sides of the plate, or both sides of the game. He went 1 for 3 at the plate with a double and an RBI, as well as drawing a walk. On the mound, he struck out 7 batters through 4 innings while only allowing 1 run. He sat 84-87 while topping out at 88 on the mound, and then mixing a curveball that sat 69-70. And he showed a strong fight. He got himself into a couple of jams, but he didn't put himself down at all. He kept fighting and getting out of them. And then at the plate, just easy pull side power that he showed with a double that was down the line right into the left field wall, which actually was also part of the turning point of this game, which finished the game. So that was an RBI double. And then Drew Kleinheider set him up with a 2-run single into center field. And then 2 more runs scored off a bases loaded walk and a pass ball, which ended up finishing the game in 5 innings. A couple guys to highlight. Scott Phelps, another guy that keeps showing well in front of me. He went 1 for 2 at the plate, showed pull side power with a 2-run double to right field. Patient approach at the plate, showed a strong arm behind the plate as he caught a runner at first with a back pick. Just showing very well. Omar Avilos had a strong day at the play, went 1 for 2, launched a no doubt home run, 2-run home run over the right field wall in the bottom of the first to get his team on the board. Showed a disciplined approach at the plate. He drew a couple walks and showed off his speed on the base pass by grabbing a couple of stolen bases. And then another guy to keep an eye on for Carterville is Zach Snow. He played. He started at third, moved over to shortstop after a pitching changed. He finished the day going 1 for 3. Just very, very high upside guy to keep an eye on. Smooth operator on the left side of the infield with an arm to match and gap approach.
Yeah, and then kind of moving over to Thursday. Def, you saw Lincoln Way East and Lincoln Way Central. Another look at Jack Bauer. What do you got?
Well, for me, obviously being a pitcher on this, or former pitcher on this podcast, right? You really look forward to the big time pitching showdowns, and that's exactly what we got last Thursday. Rivalry game, Jack Bauer taking the ball for Lincoln Way East and Luke Menzik taking the ball for Lincoln Way Central. Lincoln Way East would prevail. They'd win 2-0. Unfortunately for Central, there were a couple defensive miscues that kind of just cost them the game in this one, but MVP for me, Jack Bauer, just continues to do it. You know, every time he takes the ball, it seems like he's throwing the ball really well. This was more of an extended look for me. You know, I saw him earlier in the year and it was just 2 innings. This time it was 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks. So, you know, where I want to start is like, okay, he's got all this high-level stuff, right? And he's all around the zone with it. 74% strikes in this one. Like I said, not a walk. I just feel like that's not common when you've got, you know, big-time power stuff like that, right? He was 97 and 99, touched 100 early, settled in more at like 95, 96, but, you know, the slider, he's ripping it off at 79 to 82 with, you know, over 2,600 RPMs spin, you know, just all sorts of big-time stuff, and he's finding the zone, you know, at an incredible rate. So, it's really impressive. You know, I don't want to just brush over it because, you know, he's gotten a ton of love to this point on this podcast, but for him to continue to, you know, pitch and really show all sorts of pitchability as well. You know, he looked more like a pitcher in this extended look and controlling the run game in this one. Had a guy picked off early in the game. Feel like he varies his moves, varies his looks. So really to me just was starting to look like a complete package on the mound. And Drew, what do you got?
Well, listening to you talk and the amount of times we've now seen him, and just talking about his draft status, and you know, you go out one day and you pop a 101.8 down at Lake Point on the track, man, you're gonna get a ton of attention, right? Like people are gonna come out and see you. And then if you go out the next day and you're not the same guy, or if you're kind of scattered, throwing the ball all over the place, it's really gonna affect a scout's confidence. You know, these guys are looking at Jack Bauer, Cameron Appenzeller, and Jaden Fauske, and there's a ton of money on the line. So the more that Bauer can come out and be the same guy, and that is, you know, in dominating fashion, throwing strikes, extending his outing, the more confidence that's going to put in these scouts, you know, and decision makers' minds for Jack Bauer. Which for me, like, that's just awesome to hear. Like, that Jack is just continuing. It's almost like he's elevating his performances by you talking about the way he's holding the running game. And then, too, the other thing that it does the more that he can profile himself as a starter versus a reliever, the higher it's going to help him in the draft, or at least the um, just as far as his prospect status will continue to elevate the more he can look like a starter. So, just a couple things I wanted to mention there, and the fact that he's just continuing to be the same guy or better with that velo that you're talking about, especially from kind of what we have seen in the past. Just one of the coolest stories I've been a part of since doing this, and keep doing it, Jack. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, and then I can move on now. Underclassmen, uh, like I said, Evan Riff had a really good week in front of me. This time, felt like he did it both with the bat and the glove. Took some really good at bats. I felt like against Luke Menzik, who I'll touch on here just shortly, but defensively as well. Made probably the play of the game right at the end of the game, which I'll touch on next as well. But really like Evan's game. Think he's really starting to show a ton of potential on both sides of the ball. DH Rocco Triolo for Lincoln Way East, another 2027. Thought he hit the ball well in this one. I know he showed really well for Hammond a couple weeks ago as well, so it was good to see Rocco on the barrel in this one, right-handed hitter. Turning point, bottom of the seventh, tying run up for Lincoln Way Central. Ground ball up the middle, kind of goes to the second base side of the bag, and Evan Riff gets a ball, kind of has to like step back, touch the base, and then make a on target throw to first, and that ended the game. So thought it was just a really savvy play from Evan, especially to show the type of body control to finish the play. It was really impressive to me. Prospect highlight, Luke Menzik. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about him. Thought he threw the ball extremely well. If there's anybody who was listening to this podcast this time last year, he was easily up there for one of my favorite arms I saw last spring. Got to see him twice last year for Lincoln Way Central, and to see he just continues to elevate is really encouraging. He's a 2025 going to Xavier. His brother, Landon Menzik, is playing at Xavier right now as a true freshman. So, listen, thought he threw the ball really well. The thing that I love with Luke is just his mound presence. Every time I see him, it's very calm, kind of like a stoic, personality up there. There could be all sorts of stuff that goes wrong behind this kid, and you would never know it defensively, or maybe made a bad pitch and somebody got a hit on him. Just zero emotion. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get back on the bump, go right back to work. Fastball was 90 to 92, touching 93. He's always been able to spin breaking balls, I feel like, for us, and that was no different in this one. Spinning a slider at 83 to 84 with 2,500 plus RPM. Curveball was getting 2,800 plus RPM at 81 to 82. And then was also showing a changeup at 78 to 80. So I think it's really three pitches right now, but I mean, that changeup could be for sure a fourth once he gets to college. But really like Luke, man. The thing I noticed is he's kind of lengthened out his arm action as well. He used to be a very short and compact guy last year, and prior to that. So he's lengthened out his arm. It actually looks kind of cleaner to me. Looks more natural. So that was just something I noticed with Luke. But I remain to be a huge fan of Menzik, and hopefully I'll get to see him, one more time this spring.